Hey guys, so today I'm going to review My Dearest Self with Malice Aforethought. So that's a pretty weird name as a title, and I'm pretty sure it was mistranslated or something. That happened so many times. And if you did read the manga, the title is a bit of a spoiler of what's about to happen. So yeah, as a warning, this review will have some pretty major spoilers, so unless you've actually read the manga before, I would just go ahead and read this manga because it's super good. I would almost put it on a 10, but I feel like some parts just get really complicated, so I put it on a 9. But man, this manga is almost perfect for me. So yeah, let's get straight into it. So this manga is about Eiji, a college student, and he goes to sleep after a fun drinking night with his friends and a couple of other college people. And he wakes up and discovers this girl who's next to him, and she's like Miss Campus and everything. Yeah, apparently they're dating, and it was because he punched some big ass bully guy. And he has no memory of those past 4 days. So basically he thinks he's basically time skipped ahead 4 days, but that's not quite true as we figure out later. And so he has absolutely no memory of those past 4 days, and he thinks, oh, I have like some kind of superpower or whatever. And when I remember the very first time I read this manga, so I actually read this manga like 2 or 3 times before, and I was just rereading it again because I just completely forgot what it was about. But yeah, I remember the very first time I read it though, I was thinking, oh, this is gonna be another, shonen manga, and have some funny comedic moments, and he's gonna have some superpowers and whatever. But the actual plot of this story is much more serious and much more surprising than you might think. So he has to basically figure out this whole mystery of why can't I remember the past 4 days. And as he digs and digs and digs, he finds more and more things that make the mystery even larger, and is caught in a pretty surprising revelation later. And as we all know, big spoiler, this is your last warning if you did not click off earlier. But yeah, he figures out later that he has a split personality. And I think it's really interesting that he, I don't think I've read a manga before where because there's a couple of other manga where the main character has some kind of amnesia and they can't remember like the past few years or the past few months or whatever. But I don't think I've ever seen this used where it's because it was a split personality. And I think the split personality dissociative disorder, that is an underused trope. And of course, when it comes to mental disorders and such, you don't want to exactly use it for, just lazily putting it in your manga to make some kind of just low effort twist, right? But this manga does it in such an amazing way. And I'm not a psychologist or anything, so I don't know, the full details of this disorder, but I think what they did was pretty good. And so I do know that people with this kind of multiple personality things, you can't switch personalities on command. It will just happen if you're exposed to some kind of event, or there's some kind of trigger that switches your personalities. And for the main character Eiji, it seems more of like a time-based switch. So every few days they switch personalities, or the other personality will come into play when it's at night. And another big spoiler your last warning is that the other personality was the true personality, and that reveal leads us to a absolutely cold panel. And oh my gosh, if there's one thing I remember in this manga, it's this panel right here. Yeah, I don't know what to say, but I'm pretty sure the mangaka modeled for this picture, because I don't know how you draw this so well and so detailed. Either way, I also thought it was an absolutely bonkers twist that the adoptive father is the serial killer. It's not, I wasn't exactly surprised in a good way, but more so of a bad way, in that I was surprised. I was like, where is this even coming from? So basically his whole motive was that he couldn't feel pain and he wanted to inflict pain on others, and that's how he felt alive and he felt like he was living. And I don't know, I mean, obviously I'm no serial killer, I don't have murderous tendencies, so I can't, sympathize at all, but I try to sympathize as much as possible, but I just can't find a reason why that even connects to murdering people. But this trope is kind of used a lot, so whatever. Either way, it just kind of feels like the author kind of just generated this reason out of nowhere, because we don't really get many hints about this other than the fact that the stepfather seems to always get injured, which is kind of suspicious, yes, but it's kind of just like a very small reason. And I don't know, I just don't think it really was kind of introduced properly. I think the best twists are when you suspect it, when the reader or watcher suspects it but doesn't have like solid proof, but there's like small things that hint towards that person. But I don't think that was really done enough, and so I was completely thrown off when AG confronts his stepfather and reveals all of that information, and he basically dumps all of this information on, these are your motives and your reasons. So yeah, I just kind of felt sudden, and that kind of made me have mixed feelings on that reveal. But yeah, that's that. Yeah, I just felt really rushed, and it just felt like a big bombshell. And this whole time we're supposed to believe AG's father is the one that did all those murders. But yeah, I mean, obviously it wasn't his father. And what's really funny is that the first time I read this, I was a lot younger, and I actually thought that AG's stepfather was the older brother of his biological father, which is completely stupid. I reread it, and now I understand that he's just like this correction officer guy that was involved in his father's case. But either way, yeah, it just kind of all felt random a little bit, or maybe I missed something again. And I just really love that the whole message of this manga is that AG is able to kill his stepfather, who is, the whole serial killer, the real serial killer that he's been trying to track down this whole time. But he chooses not to kill him because, it's the whole message that hatred just makes more hatred, and it's better to just kind of move on and live your life. And yeah, I mean, that is a seriously, I mean, it is like a very overdone message, but the way this manga does it is just really amazing. And it all kind of revolves around even the other subplots of the story, where people hating each other or making mistakes, and they just kind of keep passing down that hate towards other people and other families. And yeah, I just wanted to also talk about each of the title pages, because they're done so well. So for volume 1, I mean, it kind of tells you what volume 1 is going to be about. So we have AG, his real self on the outside, I mean, not his real self, but his like fake personality technically on the outside, and the inside is the real personality that is being hidden by the outer layer, right? And we can see in his eyes is the picture of the murdered girl, and in the beginning we do suspect that this other personality, which was his true personality, is the murderer, but I really like the twist that he wasn't. Now volume 2 is of his fake personality's girlfriend, where, you know, obviously she appears to be very well socialized and happy, but on the inside she's hiding a deep trauma of her childhood where she was absolutely, you know, emotionally and physically neglected. And, you know, obviously living in a little cubbyhole, you're going to feel emotionally detached and have an unconventional personality. And yeah, she just wants to feel loved. And I guess I still wouldn't say that her past would condone what she's done in this manga. Now volume 3 is of this guy, the Skull leader, who, you know, of course approaches the main character, and he just puts on a friendly face, and I thought, oh, they can maybe become friends. You know, that's what I thought in the beginning, but we see his true personality, and he is super unforgiving. And obviously if you lead an organization of crime, he's obviously not going to be good. He's a total psychopath. I thought that later he would get out of jail somehow and cause another conflict with the main protagonist, but I'm glad he didn't, because this sucker just has to go and be locked up. And then volume 4, we have one of the other side characters. I actually really like her. She basically butts into Eiji's life and really just tries to help him, and of course she appears very apathetic, but she is an absolute great help to everyone in the manga. And, you know, obviously we see her cold exterior, and she just kind of seems like apathetic to everything, but she is super nice and helpful. And of course in the cracked frames we can see her, and she's also have some trauma as well, which was witnessing the murder and not being able to speak on that because she was just so, you know, traumatized. Now volume 5 is also super expressive. You know, we have the outside of Eiji as he was a little child, and, you know, having such a good childhood. I mean, he had pretty much the perfect family until that incident happened where his dad died. And let me tell you, wow, when they were showing the flashbacks of the dad and what actually happened to the dad, and as he was dying, he was literally just thinking about his son the whole time, that gave me some serious feelings, like, you know, Interstellar or whatever it's called, where the astronaut was separated from his daughter for so many years. That really just made me sad, and, you know, it just gave me the same feeling of just the unfairness of, you know, father and child being separated and, you know, not being able to meet each other again, basically. I mean, I guess in Interstellar they did, but yeah. Now for volume 6, I really like this one because this is kind of different from the others. You can see, like, basically the cold stone exterior being crumbled away as, you know, she met Eiji, and she began, you know, obviously as she's working, she disassociates and just completely has put up a shield to block her from the pain. But, you know, after she's met Eiji, she's pretty much found a reason to live. And yeah, I honestly felt really bad when she died, but not as bad as the main character's dad dying. That was honestly like one of the saddest things, like him like gripping onto the picture of his son. Man, that is so sad. Now we have volume 7. Volume 7, like, we can see, you know, obviously Eiji was like, hey, screw it, I'm gonna pretend to be the killer and let's see if the actual killer reveals himself. So he's gone absolute mad lad. And then you can see on the other side of his face, he, obviously shaved his head and everything. So you can tell he's really serious in getting the killer. And, there's blood even coming out because obviously his intentions are to find the killer and kill him and get revenge. And, even his eyes are red. And then for volume 8 is the cop. And oh my gosh, I absolutely hate this character because she basically screwed. It was basically because of her, where just because these pictures of me will be leaked, so I'm gonna just screw over this whole family. And then because the father was suspected as the murderer, the mom killed herself, the mom offed herself, and the son obviously had some super big mental issues. And we can see, I think this kind of picture frame looking thing calls back to the evidence. So obviously she was super worried about that. And obviously in the inside she was feeling very conflicted. And she's human, so yeah, she was feeling very conflicted about the whole situation and how her covering up things after things just made everything worse. So in the end, I do feel sympathy for her a bit as well. And then volume 9 is an absolutely cracked picture. Like, you can see she is super mad. So AG's girlfriend, at least the fake personality's girlfriend. And after killing the fake personality, she is hurting inside, as you can see in the glitched part. Obviously she knew that fake AG loved her for who she was, but she didn't really feel the weight of how important that was to her until she killed him and he wasn't able to come back again. So yeah, that was pretty sad, but honestly I don't feel that bad for her in the end. And of course this volume 10, I mean, why do you have to do this to us, is when we see that he was trapped in that house. I mean, this guy was freaking choked and he was knocked out, but somehow he tries to get out of the house as it's burning down. He's holding the picture of his son, and obviously the author's absolutely cruel to put a burning picture frame of his smiling eye right there. But yeah, oh man, that scene broke me, honestly. Like, I almost cried, honestly. Now volume 11 is an absolutely amazing picture, and that is the main character who is at peace, because at the end of the manga, I mean, I think this is one of the best endings I've read, where just everything wraps up really nicely. And AG, the main character, continues his life and turns a new leaf, and it's just a very hopeful ending, and it just all wraps up really well. They continue together. AG and the other goth girl continue to kind of do this detective agency thing on the side, and he kind of just lives his own somewhat mundane life, but it's a good life, and he's able to move on and forgive and forget his revenge that was driving him. And I think that really released him in being able to release that grudge. And yeah, it was just a absolutely perfect ending, honestly. Like, I couldn't add or subtract anything from it. It was just a perfect wrap up. I also really like that we basically get confirmation here that his other personality isn't completely killed off, but still kind of lives within him. And yeah, I'm just really glad that's the case. So if you have not read this manga already, I hope you really do. And I don't know how you would get to the end of this manga, to the end of this review. And I just basically told you all the big spoilers, but either way, I really think you should read this manga, because even if you know all the spoilers, it actually does enhance the reading experience a bit. But yeah, either, spoilers or no spoilers, this manga is really good. I mean, if you really want to, maybe set an alarm for like 2 years later and then read the manga so you forget what's happening. Because, I do read this manga like every few years once I've like forgotten about it mostly. Because, oh man, this manga is so good. But yeah, that's my whole review. Bye.